Picture this. The sun beats down like a hammer. The ground radiates heat. You march forward, step after step, for dozens of kilometers, the weight on your shoulders close to 30 kilos. A shield strapped to your arm, a sword at your side. Armor pressing against your chest with every breath. There's no shade, no breeze, only the relentless glare of the midday sun. And when night finally falls, there's no rest, no warm bed, no peace. The day ends with shovels in the ground, digging trenches, erecting defenses, setting up camp, and then standing guard through the night, eyes scanning the dark for any sign of attack. This was not an occasional hardship. This was every day in the life of a Roman legionary. But here's the truth. No matter how fierce an army's discipline, no soldier can fight without fuel. Before the battle cries, before the clashing of steel, came something far more important: food. Eating wasn't just about filling an empty stomach. It was a system of survival, a weapon of discipline, and a tool of military strategy. Today, we pull back the curtain on what truly sustained the Roman war machine. The food that kept it marching across continents. At the very center of a Roman soldier's rations stood one humble ingredient: wheat. To the Romans, it was frumentum, the foundation of their strength. So essential was this grain that it could account for up to 75% of a soldier's total provisions by weight. And here's the twist: the army didn't give them bread. Each man received his share of raw grain. It was the soldier's own job to grind it down using a portable mill and turn it into food. This was by design. A legionary was expected to be self-sufficient, even in the middle of enemy territory. From this grain came thick, filling porridges, flatbreads baked on hot stones, and the infamous basilatum, a hard biscuit made only from flour, salt, and water, baked twice until it could last for weeks. So tough that soldiers often had to soak it in water or wine just to bite into it. Not delicious, but it was durable, a lifesaver during long campaigns with no fresh supplies. Barley, that was different. While edible, it was considered animal feed. And if a soldier disgraced himself by failing in his duties, showing cowardice, or breaking discipline, his wheat ration would be replaced with barley. This punishment, called frumentum, was a public mark of shame. Eating barley was like wearing a badge of failure. Grain filled the belly, but true power came from a rarer prize: meat. Unlike wheat, it wasn't a regular issue. Soldiers had to hunt for it, trade for it, or take it. In the chaos of war, with supply lines stretched thin, legions often turned to the hunt. Deer, wild boar, hares, rabbits, all were fair game. But hunting was more than a way to eat. It was training for war. It demanded stealth, endurance, teamwork. A failed hunt didn't just mean frustration. It could mean hunger. More often, meat came from conquest. When a legion captured a town, they claimed its livestock: oxen, goats, sheep, and above all, pigs. Pigs were perfect for the Roman army, easy to keep, abundant, and almost entirely usable. Meat could be salted, smoked, or turned into sausages, bacon, and hams. Even the fat was kept for cooking other foods. Nothing went to waste. Meat also carried deep symbolic weight. Before major battles, soldiers took part in the suovittorilia ritual, sacrificing a pig, a sheep, and a bull to the gods for purification and victory. Afterward, the meat was shared among the troops, a final moment of unity before stepping into the chaos of combat. But the real day-to-day sustenance of the legions came from humbler sources: legumes, lentils, peas, beans. They were cheap, nourishing, and easy to preserve. They could be cooked into stews or soups, often with wheat, creating filling. High-protein meals that kept soldiers going through endless marches. Vegetables, though rarely praised in ancient texts, played a crucial role too. Archaeological digs of Roman camps have uncovered remains of leek, cabbage, onion, turnip, and garlic. These were hardy, easy to store, and sometimes even grown near camp. They provided vitamins, fiber, and helped protect soldiers from digestive illnesses, a constant threat during long campaigns in foreign lands. Fruit, on the other hand, was a rare treat. When available, it was usually dried figs, dates, raisins brought by merchants or gathered from fertile regions the legions passed through. They were everyday fare, but their sweetness could lift morale like nothing else. The historian Polybius tells of a famine when King Philip V managed to distribute dried figs to his starving soldiers. It wasn't a feast, but it was enough to restore their spirits and their strength. In an army's life, variety wasn't just nice. It was vital for morale. One of the most practical and overlooked foods of the Roman army was cheese. Light, nutritious, and long-lasting, cheese could be eaten anywhere, during a march, in camp, even on guard duty. Made from cow, goat, or sheep milk, it provided protein and calcium, but its greatest asset was durability. It didn't spoil easily, even without refrigeration. Archaeological evidence suggests that soldiers sometimes made their own cheese in camp when time allowed. It was a perfect example of the army's self-sufficiency in action. As essential as eating was, drinking could mean the difference between life and death. Each soldier carried a container, a leather water skin or metal canteen, and camps were set near rivers, springs, or wells, but water in unknown lands could be dangerous. Contaminated water led to sickness that could cripple an army. The Romans had a solution, Posca. Posca was a mixture of water and sour wine vinegar, sometimes flavored with herbs, honey, or spices. Elite Romans looked down on it as a peasant's drink, but for soldiers, it was invaluable. Its acidity killed harmful bacteria, its vinegar preserved the liquid, and modern science shows it even provided antioxidants and vitamin C. In short, it was the legion's ancient isotonic drink, safe, refreshing, and easy to make anywhere, too. More items were critical for long-term campaigns: salt and olive oil. Salt was more than a seasoning, it was a strategic asset. Without it, meat and fish couldn't be preserved, and armies would starve far from home. It was so important that some historians believe the word salary comes from salarium, a payment given to soldiers to buy salt. Olive oil was Rome's universal tool, used for cooking, preserving, treating wounds, protecting skin from cold, and even for cleaning. It was transported in large amphorae marked with their origin. Wherever Rome's legions marched, olive oil marched with them. Ancient writers like Pliny the Elder and Vigilius made it clear oil was not a luxury. It was a necessity. All of this, the grain, the meat, the cheese, the oil, didn't just appear in camp by magic. Behind every legion stood a hidden force, the logisticians, soldiers who fought not with swords, but with planning and labor. They secured water sources, organized rations, and ensured that the lifeline of the army never broke. Their work was invisible, but without them, the Roman war machine would have ground to a halt. The Roman diet was not lavish. It was not varied, but it was perfectly designed, simple, efficient, and relentless in its purpose. Every meal, every preservation method, every ritual around eating was built for one thing: survival. This discipline of food mirrored the discipline of the army itself. And in that, perhaps, lies one of the true secrets of Rome's military power. If you've enjoyed discovering this hidden side of the empire, leave a like on the video, subscribe for more history brought to life, and as always, may Mars guide you in battle.